So welcome back to my channel. So in this time we're going to take a look at how to play November Rain. Like always, at the description of the video you have a link to the tab of the song. You can go there and check the tabs. And of course, if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe. So that's it. Let's begin with the song. Okay, so we're going to start. So we're going to take a look of all the solos of the song. We're going to start with the first solo, then the second one, and then we're going to go to the outro. And it's because I believe that you're here because you want to learn the solos. The chords on the song and everything else, the melody and everything else. It's really simple, and we're gonna do it at the end. Either way, remember at the bottom you have the links to the section of this tutorial. Alright, so we're gonna start with the first one. And first you need to know that you need to tune the guitar half step down, like in the 99.9% of the songs of Guns N' Roses. You need to tune the guitar half step down if you want to play on top of the original song. If you don't do it, it's going to sound a little bit weird. All right, so let's begin. I'm going to play first. The first part we're going to be learning from the first solo, and then we just, going to move forward. So that's what we're going to do at the beginning. So we're going to start on the 8th position of the B string, and we're going to strike, and we're going to do kind of a big bend. Then what we need to do, we need to do that. So the first time when we do the bend, we are still doing the bend, and we need to pick the string again, and we do the release, and then we do one more bend. Let me, get the volume down because it could be a little bit annoying. So that's what we need to do. So on the second bend, we need to go then to the 8th position on the first string, on the E string. And we strike while we are doing the bend. After we do that, we pick the one that it's doing the bend, and then we do the release. And after we do the release, we go to the 6th position of the B string, and we're gonna go back again to the B string, and we do pretty much the same movement. That's what we need to do. So we do one bend, a release, and one more bend. So we're gonna keep that note ringing while we'll do the bend. We're gonna stay there, and then we do the release again. Now, when we do the release, we do one more bend, and then we go to the 8th position of the first string again. Alright, so let's do the whole section again. And then when we strike the 8, we do the release. Now, after we do that, we need to do that. When we do the release on the 8th, we go to the 5th position on the B string, and we do that. We do strike it, we do a tiny bend, and then back to the original position. So it's like going to the 6th. After we do that, we go to the 8th of the E string, and we just strike it, and we let it ring. Then, so we repeat pretty much the same idea, but we do it twice. We do bend, release, bend, and release. Alright? Next movement. We're gonna do that. So we go to the 7th of the G string, strike it, pull off to the 5th, and then we go back to 7. We do a slide to 9, 8 on the B, 9, slide back to 7, and then 5 again on the G string. Alright, so far we got Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is gonna be So we're going to do that. So we start the same way. It's the same thing we did previously on the first part. We go to the 8, we do the bend, and then the release, all right? Then we go to 6th and we repeat again. Right? So that part, it's exactly the same. We just need to repeat it. The only difference is that on the second time, when we go to 8 on the second time, instead of going there, we're gonna go to the E string, and we do that. We strike the 8 on the E string, we do a bend, a release, and then we go to the 10th of the E string, and we strike it, and we do a bend like going to 12. Let me just show you. Next movement. So we do that. We go to the 8th position again. We were actually doing the bend on the 10th, and we go to 8. We strike it one time, and then we go to the 10th. And when we go to 10, we strike it, do a pull off to the back to the 8, and then go to 10 of the B string, 8 on the E string, and then we go back to the 10th of the B string. But when we strike it, we do a slide to the 13th position of the B string. Let me do the whole section again. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is right, so we're gonna move forward with that. So when we finish there, we need to go to 13 on the E string, and we repeat the same movement twice. 13, pull off to 12, 13 on the B, and then 13, pull off on the 12, and back to 13 on the B. Now, notice that I'm kind of killing the notes. I'm gonna kill the note and kill the note. It's not like that. So after we do that, we go to 13 on the E string, we strike it, we do a bend like going to 15, and then we do the release. It's there's kind of a no release. We just go back to the original position and strike 13. Next movement. So we go, everything happens on the E string, and we go to 10, 12, 13. And after we do that, we go back to 12, and we do 12, hammer on to 13, pull off back to 12, and pull off back to 10. You know, really simple. Okay, so the next movement. So we do that. So when we do after we finish that, we're gonna go again. We're gonna stay on the 10th. We go 10, and then we go to 13. Now, when we go to 13, we strike it, and we do a bend. Now, the bend, of course, lasts longer, and then we need to strike it. We do a release. We go to 12, 13. We do a little bit of vibrato, and we go back to 12. All right. And then to finish, we go to 19th, we strike it, and we need to do a bend. And the bend is really, really short. It's like going to 20. And that's what we need to do. Okay, so the next section, after we do we need to do that. So when we do the bend, we're gonna stay there, and then we're gonna go back to the original position. All right, we go to 19th, and what we need to do is we strike it 3 times. Now the third time, after we do it, we need to slide back to 17. Then we pretty much do the same idea with the 17, but this time it's going to be twice, and on the second time, we're going to slide back to 15. Now again, same idea, 15 twice, and the second time we go to 13. Then we're going to strike one more time, and we're going to do it one more time, but this time we do a pull off. Then we're going to strike 12 again, and we're going to do the following. we're gonna again strike 12, hammer on to 13, pull off back to 12, and then slide to 10. After we do that, we strike 10 again, and we finish on the 13. Again, there's not much technique. You just need to remember what you need to do to practice and then remember it, because it's not hard to do. So let's go again. Okay, so next section. So that's what we need to do. So first, we're going to start with the hard part of this, the first solo. So that's the hard part. We're going to go to 12 on the E string, 12, then 13, back to 12. That's a movement. Really simple. Then what we need to do after we go to 12, we need to go back to 13, and when we do a pull off to back to 12. That's a movement. After we do that, again, we go to 15 of the B string, 13 on the B string, and if, my advice will be to always leave this finger on the 12, because we're going to go back to 12 every time. So again, 15, 13, back to 12 on the E. And then we're going to do the same thing, but, in reverse. 13, 15, back to 12, and then again, 15 on the B and 13 on the B. All right? Let me do it in slow tempo. Now notice that the last one, it's a little bit faster than the other ones. Let me do it again. So after we finish on the 13, we're going to go to 15 again on the B string. We are not going to go back to 12 on the E. We go to 15 on the B, and what we need to do is go to the 12 of the B string. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to do strike it, hammer on to 13, and then we're going to go back to 12, and we do that. We strike it, we do a bend and a release, and this movement has to be really fast. So that is it. That's what we need to do. And then what we need to do, we do that. We go to 14 on the G string, strike it, do a pull off to 12, 12 on the B string, back to 12 on the G, and 14 on the G string. I know that doesn't make sense. I'm going to show you right now this whole section in a slow tempo and then a little bit, faster. That's what we need to do. One more time. And a little bit, faster. All right, so next section after the 14 of the G string, what we need to do is the following. That's what we're going to do now. We need to go to the G string, and everything is going to happen pretty much on the G string. So again, go to 10, strike it, hammer on to 12, pull off back to 10, and then we need to do a slide to 10. That's the movement. And after we do the slide to to 9, we hammer on to 10 and pull off back to 9. Notice that with this hand, I'm just striking one time. Everything else is just hammer-ons and pull-offs. Then what we need to do, we need to go to 12 on the G string, and we do that. We go 12, pull off to 10, a slide, or you could do a pull-off to 9. Completely up to you. And after we do that, we go to 13 on the B string and we, finish that lick. Now the next ones are going to be, pretty much the same idea, but a little bit different. On the other ones, we need to do that. So we start the same way. We go to 10, hammer on to 12, pull off back to 10, and then go to 9. And again, if you wish, you can do a series of pull-offs and, hammer-ons. In this case, I'm just doing a slide from 10 to 9. And after we do this slide back to 9, we go to 10, and we finish again on the 13. So again, it's pretty much the same idea, but just a little bit different. Now the next one, again, we start the same way. We do the same thing, and we finish on the 10th, but this time, instead of going to 13, we go to 15 of the B string. And we do that, we go to 15, we do a bend, and while we're doing the bend, we strike 15 on the E string. Then, of course, while both strings are ringing, we strike the one that it's doing the bend, and we do the release. And we finish the solo going to 13 on the B string, alright? And, you know, when we strike it, if you listen to the original track, when we strike, we let it ring, and then we do a tiny bend. It's like going to 15. Let me show you. Alright, so that's the first solo. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so now we're gonna go with the second solo. I just backed the microphone just a little bit because it was, you know, spitting on it. So, okay. So what we need to do is the second solo. Now, before we can start with the actual solo, there is a different part that comes before that. And it's gonna be something like... Right, so that's gonna go and give us the previous part of the, you know, the second solo. So what we do, we start on the 5th of the D string, and then we go to the G string, and we do 5, hammer on to 7, and pull off back to 5. Then we go to 7 of the D string, and we're gonna go to 5 of the B string, and we do that. Strike it, do a bend, a release, and then we go to 5 of the G and 7 on the D. Then to finish, so we do 5, 7 on the G, and then 5, hammer on to 7, and we finish on the 5th. So then, of course, Axel is gonna kind of start to sing, and we do, right? We're gonna do that. If you listen to the original track, that part is kind of hidden, but it's there. We're gonna go to 6, and we're gonna do a bend. It's a large bend, like going to, you know, to the 8th position. That's it. And then we move forward to the next section, and we do... So it's pretty much the same thing we did before. 5, we do a bend, a release, or you can do... Just do a pre-bend, and then do the release. You know, it's completely up to you. So... You know, 5 on the G, 7 on the D. So we do that. 5, then 5 on the G, and hammer on to 7. And then to finish, we just repeat the first section. That's it. So the next section, when we finish this, it's going to be the actual solo. So we're going to start with that right now. Okay, so the beginning of the second solo, it's going to start on the 7th position. After, you know, after we do the... We start on the 7th of G. We go 7, 9, 10... 12, 14, 16, 17, 15 on the B, and then we go to 18 on the B string, and we strike it, and we're gonna stay there. Then we're gonna go to 20 of the B string, and we do that. We strike 20, we do a bend, we strike the lower E string on the same position, the same 20, and then we do the release. Now, after we do the release, we do one more bend. So while we're doing the bend, we strike 20 again, and we do that. Instead of going back to 20, we go to 17th of the B string, and we do that. We strike it, it's a bend, like going to 18, everything is on the tap, and then we go back to the original position, 17. And to finish that lick, we're gonna go to 18 on the E string, and we strike it, and we do a bend like going to 20. Let me do the whole section and then we just move forward. Okay, so the next section. So we can do that. Kind of almost made a mistake right there, but that's okay. So when we finish on the 18 of the E string, doing that large bend, we're gonna go to 17 of the B string. So we strike it, we do a bend, tiny bend, like going to 18. We do a release and a bend again. So we bend, release, bend. And then we're gonna do, we do that. We go to 15 of the B, we do 15, 17, 18, then 15, 17 on the E. Then on this position we go to 18 of the B string, back to 15, and then we go 17, 18, and 15, right? One more time. Let me do it again. So after we finish on the 15 of the E string, we do that. So the movement, it's like going to 12. We strike it, we do a bend, we kill that bend, we kill the note, and we do the release, and we go back to 12. Then, so we do that. We need to go to 15. We do a bend, a release, and then we go 13, 15, back to 13. So we do something like that. That's a movement. Bend, release, 13, 15, 13. And then, so we repeat the same movement twice. We go to 14, 13, and 15. 14 of the G, 13 of the B, and 15 of the B. So after we finish on the 15, we go back to B and we strike it twice. And notice that the first 13, we kill it, and the second one is a little bit, longer. So we repeat the same motion twice. Let me repeat the whole section and then we go to the final part. Oh, sorry. Okay, so the next section after that, we're gonna start, kind of repeating the same lick again. We start again on 14, 13, and we're gonna go to 15. But this time, instead of striking and going back to 13, we're gonna stay on the 15, and we're gonna do a bend. That's a movement. Then we do the release. We do the bend, kill the bend, do the release, strike 15 again, and we're gonna do something like that. So when we do that, we go to 13, we strike it one time, and then we need to go back to 15, strike it, do a pull off, and slide to 12. Then we strike 13 again, and now we're gonna do pretty much the same idea. 12, hammer on to 13, pull off to 12, and a slide to 10. So to finish, we strike 12 on the E string, and then we do that. We go to 15 on the B string, we strike it, we do a large bend. While we're doing the bend, we strike 15. Then we strike that bend, we do the release, and we finish on the 13 on the B. Now, when we do the the release of the 15 has to be really fast. That's what we need to do. So let me repeat this whole section again. Okay, so now we're gonna take a look at the all the solos at the end, and we have 6 different, different parts. We have 6 different solos. It's not a short song. It's a 9-minute song, and we do a lot of playing with the solos. Pretty much, everything happens at the end. So we're gonna go all through all the solos, and this is the first one. So first, let me play what we're gonna be doing. So that's going to be the first solo. Let me put the volume down. All right. So, of course, the first part of this one, we repeat it on the other one. So, we cover this right now, and then it gets a little bit easier. So, we start on the 19th of the E string, and we do that. We strike it, we do a bend like going to 20, then we do the release, and we strike it again. Then we go to 20 of the E string, we strike it one time, and then the second time we strike it, and we do a bend. Now when we do the bend, we kind of do the release again, strike 20, 19, and 20 again. I made a mistake right there. Alright, so after we go to 20 on the E string, we go to 15 of the E string, 16, 15, and 16 again. And the next movement, we go back to 15, strike it, hammer on to 16, pull off back to 15, 18 on the B string, and we finish that lick on the 15. Alright, so the next lick. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so when we finish on the 15 of the E string, we're going to go to 13. And we do, that's what we're going to do. 13, 15, 16, and back to 15. And I would recommend to do alternate picking and not all downstrokes. That's not going to work. You need to do alternate picking. So after we finish on the 15 of the E string, we go back to 16, and we do that. 16, pull off to 15, and 15, pull off to 13. Then 16, 13, and back to 16. Right? And of course, that happens on the B string, 16, 13, and 16. So after we strike on the 16, and this movement is a little bit fast, we go to 13 on the E string, and we do that. 13, hammer on to 15, pull off back to 13, 16, and back to 13. Let me do everything on slow tempo. Oh, sorry. So after we finish there, we're gonna go 15, 16 on the B string, back to 13 on the E string. And then we're gonna go back to B string and 16, 15, 16. Again, all of this happens very, very fast. That's the movement. And after we do that, we get back to 15 of the B string, and we strike it twice, and we do 2 bends, and everything again happens fast. One more time. Next section, we do that. So after the 2 bends, we do that for 13, 15, 16, 15, then we go 15, 16, 13, and 15. So right here, I cannot tell you do this, do that, a different technique to make it easier or make it easier for you, because that's not going to work. What you need to do is just to practice and remember where you need to play. There's no way around this. So again, 13, 15, 16, 13 on the E, then 15, 16, 13, and 15. And then to finish, we do that. 13 on the B string, hammer on to 15, pull off back to 13, and we do a slide to 12, and we finish on the 13 of the B string. That is the movement. So let me play these, this section, and then we would just move forward to the second part, which is, the most difficult one of the song. And of course, when we finish there, we just move forward to the next one. And, we do that section again. So let's go with the second part. All right, second part. So we're going to do something like that. It's not, I wouldn't say hard. It is hard because it's fast, but there's not a lot of bends. So everything's just alternate picking, and that's it. But it's fast. That's why it's hard. So when we start the section, we start the same way. Right, the same way. Let me get the volume down, and then so we do something like that. So when we do it, of course, we need to go to 15. We start there, and everything is hammer-ons and pull-offs right now. So from that end, it's a little bit easier. So we do that, 15, hammer on to 16, and hammer on to 18. Then we go to 15 of the E string, then 16, and then we go back to 15, but this time we're gonna do 15, hammer on to 16, pull off, back to 15, and then 18 and 15. Of course, everything needs to be faster. So after we finish on the 15 of the E string, we're gonna go to the B string and we do 16, hammer on to 18, back to 15 of the E string. And then to finish this part of the lick, we go 18, 16, and 18 on the B string. Let me, do it in slow tempo. Of course, again, everything needs to be fast. Oh, sorry. So when we finish on the 18, right there, if you listen to the original track, there's kind of a rest. Oh. So we strike 18 and we let it rest. It's, again, everything is really small. And then we go and we do the following. We do that. So again, we leave this note ringing and then we prepare ourselves to go to this note. And this note is going to be 15 of the G string. We strike it and then we do that. We go to 13 on the B string, 13, hammer on to 15, and then, hammer on to 16, 13, 15, 16, and then we go to the E string and we pretty much do the same thing and then backwards. 13, 15, 16, pull off to 15, pull off to 13. Again, everything needs to be fast. So after we do that, the pull off, we go to 16 on the B string, 15 on the E string, and then back to 16 on the B string. Now to move forward, we go to 13 on the E string, hammer on to 15, and then 16 on the B and back to 13. So, everything happens right now between 13, 15, and 16. Now, after we finish on the 13 of the E string, we go back to the B string and we do 16, 15, 16. And now to move forward, we do something like that. We go to 15, hammer on to 16, pull off, 15, pull off to 13, and we finish with 15 on the G and 13. And then, of course, comes the next lick. All right, so a little bit slower. And then the rest, and then we go to the next one. Right, we stay there, 13. So it's like, again, and everything, of course, a little bit faster. And then to move to finish, we do that. So we go to 15 on the G string, 15, 13, back to 15, and then to finish, do that. We go 13, hammer on to 15, pull off back to 13, slide to 12, 13, 12, and then 12 on the D string. Okay, so next part. So that's, the whole section. I'm gonna, lower the volume. So we start the same way than the other ones. That part is the same. All right, that part again is the same. Then we go to 19, and instead of, going back to 20, we're gonna go to a different thing. When we go to 19, we go to 19 on the G string, all right? And we do that. On the 19, we do a bend, like going to 20, it's a really small bend. We do the release, and then we do a pull off to 17. Then we do the same motion again, right? So we do it twice. And the third time, it's the same action, but the bend, it's much, much longer. And we do that. We do a bend, a release, and a larger bend. And then we do the release. Let me show you. All right, so when we do the release from that large bend, we go to 17, 16, and 20. All right, 17 of the G, 16 of the B, and 20 of the E string. All right, so the next section, we do that. So when we do and we stay there on the 20, now it's fretting a little bit, but that's fine, doesn't matter. We need to strike 20 again, and then we go to 15, back to 20, 19, and 20. That's the movement. Then we go back to 15, we go to 18, 15, 16, 15, and 18, all right? Again, I cannot do a lot of things for you right here, you just need to memorize what we need to play. So after we finish on the 18 of the E string, we're gonna do that. We do that. We strike 15 of the E string, hammer on to 16, pull off back to 15, and we go to 18 of the B, back to 15, and then 16, 18 on the B. Let me show you. And to finish, we do 3 times of that. 15, 16, 15, 16, 15, 16. And we finish that section there. Let me do the whole section, and then we move forward to the next one. All right, so next one, from the last part. So we do something like that. So this section start with the same idea we did before. Right, so that part is the same. And then we're gonna do, we do that. We go to 16 of the B string, 15 of the E string, and then 18 on the E. And when we go to 18, we do 2 bends. And then we finish like that, 15, 16 of the B string, and then 15, 16, but we finish now on the 17 of the G string. And to finish the section, something like that, made a mistake right there, but that's okay. So on the G string, we're gonna do 15, 17 twice, and then back to 15. Then on the D string, 17, 16, and 15, let me lower the volume. And then to finish, we we do 13, 15, and we strike 15, but this time we're going to do a bend, a release, and a pull off to 13. And to finish, 15 on the A string. So let me do the whole section. It was, pretty simple. I believe this one is the easiest one of all. Alright, so the next lick. So we're going to do that. Again, we start the riff, the section with the same thing than before. Right? We start the same way. And then we do that. So we go to 18 of the B string, and then 15, 16, 18, 16, 18, and back to 16. Just check the tabs down there. Now, if you listen to the original track, he might be doing some bends. But I believe, it sounds a little bit better just like this. Again, you can choose right here. So when we finish on the 16, we do that. We go to 18, pull off to 16, and 16, pull off to 15. Then 18 on the B string, 16 on the E, 18, and we go to the E string and we do 15, hammer on, and pull off to 15. Let me do everything in slow tempo. Then 18, 15, and then we go back to 18 on the B string. We do a bend and a release. And then to move forward, we do 16, 17, 18, 17 on the G, and then we do that, 16, 18, and 16. And to finish, we do that, it's kind of nice. We go to 15 on the E string, we strike it, we do a bend, a release, and then we do the same idea on the 15 of the B string. Now, again, of course, they are different. It's the same movement, but different timing. We strike it, it's a longer note, we do bend, release, and this one, it's not a longer note. We do it fast. Let me do the whole section again. Okay, and the final lick. And we finish the song with that lick. Alright, so we start the same way. Alright, we go 15 and 16 and then back to 15. Until that part, it's the exact same riff. Now, of course, when we reach this section, it's a little bit slower. And then, instead of just striking 16, we do a slide to the 16, and then we do that. Let me get the volume down. We do that. When we slide to 16, we strike 16 again. We do a pull off to 15. 15, pull off to 13. And when we go, when we are in the 13, we need to do a bend to the 15. And then we do that, 16 on the B string, 15, and we do a bend and a release. Let me do it again. And with that, we finish the song. Alright, so now we're going to talk a little bit about the chords we're going to be using to play the song. Now, I'm not going to extend a lot of this because I know that most of you are here to watch the solos, to learn how to do the solos. Because everything else, the song itself, it's pretty simple. So, what we're going to do with the song, we're going to use pretty much 3 notes at the beginning. And we can we can hear that chord, and we can, we know that that's the chord. And this is an F major 7. So when I look into your eyes, and then we're gonna go to a D minor 7. Everything is right there. At the bottom, you have the chords, the shapes. I can see the love restrain, and then we do a C chord. Pretty simple, right? Right. So we can repeat it a few times, right? But darling, when I hold you, I don't know, it feels the same, whatever. All right? And then it changes a little bit, because nothing lasts forever. And we do a D minor and a G, forever. And we both know hearts can change. And we go to a C. So again, we just play F, D, minor 7, then D, a C, I'm sorry. And then we go to a D minor, now 7, and then a G chord. And then we just repeat the same patterns all over again throughout the whole song. So if you want to love me, then darling, no refrain, right? Or we all just end up walking, G, in the cold November rain. Really simple chords, great song, real simple chords. And then of course we just repeat all of this through the verses, and then comes the chorus. Okay, so on the chorus, again, real simple chords. So we're gonna use an F chord, a G chord, and then of course we're gonna change a few things. So when the chorus begins, we're gonna do you need some time on your own, and then we go to G, and we just repeat the same thing. Do you need some time? And I believe we repeat it 3 times. All alone, G major, F major and G major. Everything needs some time, everybody needs some time on their own. Oh, 4 times, of course. Don't you know you need some time? All alone, and then F major again. So we repeat it 4 times. Then, of course, a different part comes in, and I know it's hard to keep an open heart, and now it changes, and we can listen that it changes. And we're gonna do an E, an F, and a C. And now right here, the song starts with a little bit of distortion. The guitar starts with a distortion, so you can play in fifths. So something like that. I know it's hard to keep an open chord, and then we just repeat pretty much the same thing, but instead of ending on a C power chord, we're gonna end on a D. So when even friends seem out to harm you, and we do D power chord. Then we repeat, but if you could heal a broken heart, and then we do a C instead of a D, and then we finish, wouldn't time charmed you, and this at the end of the chorus we finish with the G power chord. And here comes the solo, right? For at least the first solo. So when we finish, we strike it several times to, play the solo. Alright, so everything else is just the same, the verses and the chorus and everything else. The only thing that changes right now is the end, right? So, for example, when we are ending part of the, verse, because nothing lasts forever, and even cold November rain, and right here we can start something else. We can recognize that part, and then we finish on a C. So when we do even cold November rain, we start with a C chord, then we go to a G chord, and we need to use the third and the second because it's a G with a B, but doesn't matter. Then we go to A, we go to G, to F, we go to a G power chord, and the section, pretty much the main part, the main song ends on a C chord. And then, of course, the final part comes in. Now, of course, there's much more detail on this, but again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining this because it's very, very simple, and everything is on the tabs. We spend most of the time of the video learning the solos, which is the difficult part of this. So remember, at the bottom you have the links to the tab. Again, go to the bottom, go to the description and just check the tabs. All the chords are going to be there. Okay, so I hope this helped you in some way, and see you next time.